Geordie Journo's back at St James's Park and back in the Champions League. It looks like we're here for a post-match interview, doesn't it? The bright professional studio light. It's probably the best lighting we've ever had.
That simplifies a manager's having to stand in front of this when they're getting asked questions.
In the spotlight as Eddie Howe, Sven Botman and Peter Bosz, who will touch on what they had to say in their pre-match press conferences here at St James's Park today. Slightly different format. I know we historically don't really like the sort of Champions League format of press conferences. You get handed the mic and usually a lot of translation going on. Obviously, Dutch media speak very good English, so there wasn't much of that today, thankfully. But Sven Botman, of course, Dutchman himself, spoke a bit as well. What was your big takeaway from the pre-match press conferences? And welcome back, Jordan.
I'll tell you this, injury news, there was footage today about Willisula and Dan Burn back in training, hinting at their potential involvement against PSV on Tuesday, but as Eddie Howe confirmed, the game came too soon for both players. That was their first day back training with the group, so they won't be involved tomorrow night. Maybe at the weekend against Aston Villa on Sunday, but no fresh injury boosts in that sense in terms of the squad. So it's as you were, 4 senior defenders, all of which played 90 minutes at Wolves on Sunday. So suspect with maybe one change in there. Maybe Lewis Miley comes back in for Kieran Trippier, but very much more the same. The same as you were in terms of the team, and Newcastle will look to bounce back from what was a disappointing result. I don't know what the mood was like at Molineux after that result, but having watched it from afar,
I think most people were
disappointed.
It was boring. Yeah. I'll hint on it now because it ties into it slightly. Peter Bosz, the PSV manager, proper full of praise for Newcastle United. He said they're intense, they're big, they play good football. The game against Leeds here at St James's Park, one of the best games I've seen, a beautiful game, one of the best I've seen in the last 10 years. I hope he didn't watch Wolves on Sunday, because that was anything but. But to be fair to Newcastle, here at St James's Park, they have been quite entertaining in 2026 at least. So hopefully a corner has been turned in that respect. But on the injury front, it tied into something I asked Eddie Howe, probably slightly cheekily. We sort of set it up.
I can see the Shield Gazette headline tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it was a silly one really. Eddie Howe smirked at it, didn't he?
He knew what you were doing.
Yes, he did. But he absolutely went for it. He took the bait. I gave him a little carrot. Eddie Howe proper munched it off.
Munched it off.
I don't think that's a term. What happened? I said, Dan Burn, Willisula, is that as close as we can expect to new signings for Newcastle United this month? Eddie Howe said, I don't know, but Dan Burn definitely will be like a new signing because we've missed him. The defensive situation, no disrespect to Willisula, he'll be a boost as well. The defensive injury situation means Dan Burn coming back, such an important player, having him back involved will be like a new signing. So is that as close as we're going to get? Eddie Howe sort of went, well, they're still looking. So less than 2 weeks left of the transfer window. Eddie Howe's still not ruling out signings. But one thing he did rule out, fresh reports from Brazil today, going very hard from some of the biggest outlets in Brazil, Globo, ESPN Brazil, things like that, saying a bid was expected from Newcastle for the 19-year-old forward Ryan Vitor of Vasco da Gama. Scored 20 goals for them in 2025. A top prospect. He's been linked to Bournemouth as well. Eddie Howe was asked directly, any truth in that? Eddie Howe responded, there's no truth in that.
Yes.
Damn.
They've been linked with them a few times. I mean, Newcastle.
How many Brazilians have they been linked with?
Newcastle have been linked with a lot of Brazilians, and we do know that they have looked at the South American market more. But for all the Brazilians have been linked with, they've only signed 2.
And they weren't from Brazil. They signed them from having already been established in Europe. So this whole Brazil scouting network that they're trying to set up, or in South America they're trying to set up, ultimately all the links have come from Brazil sources. It's not come from the club. Eddie Howe shut it down today. They've been linked with so many young Brazilians. it's just a way Brazilian media get their names out there, get people talking. We're doing it now. We're sort of playing the game, if you like. But it's one of those. You look at it, the second you see the names, you go, right, why are Newcastle about to make a bid for this player when we've heard absolutely nothing?
Yeah.
It's because it's come from Brazil. They're trying to hype it up, whether it's the agent, whether it's the club, something like that. They're trying to cash in while they can, because that's how these clubs in Brazil sort of stay alive and flourish, is 19, 20-year-old players getting sold to Europe for millions of pounds.
Yes.
That's why they all have massive release clauses.
Yes. Put a big red X next to Rayon then, because he ain't coming. And I don't think, with Dan Burn back, I'd be surprised if anyone
really
came, and I've changed my stance again. I think...
I thought on Friday you said you were...
I said I was more confident, or I felt it was more likely they would than they wouldn't in terms of where I was at. So I was like, no chance. And then I was like, actually, I've altered my stance a little bit. It's like, actually, it's more likely. Whereas it probably still is.
The clock's ticking is what I'd say.
It's like, I think with Dan Burn come back, I think it gives them a reason not to. I think they are looking, but ultimately they won't, and Eddie Howe said this several times, they won't do a deal that doesn't fit into the long-term strategy, or it isn't a player that they want the summer and bring forward. I don't think they'll sign a player for the sake of it, and they're looking, so something might come up, anything can happen, the transfer window can change very quickly. I think as I stand here now, I'm doubtful there'll be any incomings as such. I mean, Eddie Howe after the game it was asked about strikers and stuff, he ruled that out. Financially can't do that. I mean, he's been more open in terms of when asked about defenders, said it's a possibility, because that is a long-term position they need to strengthen the summer, given the aging defence that they've got. But yeah, long story short, I don't think they will. Now Dan Burn is imminently back. But look, in 2 weeks, Dan Burn comes back with another injury. Exactly. It's like it forces the hand a little bit. But I think if you were to guarantee the defensive situation remain the same and Dan Burn was fit alongside the rest of them or currently fit, I don't think the sign of play. Yeah,
but my argument would be you can't guarantee that, whereas you can control to some degree whether you bring a player or not into the football club. So I would remove the risk and bring a player in. All I'll say now, on Friday I said I think Newcastle will make a signing. I'm less confident now, but that is purely because time is running out for Newcastle. Like I say, less than 2 weeks left of the transfer window. They're going to have to act quickly because nothing is massively forthcoming. A couple of names here and there, but nothing feels imminent, despite what the Brazilian media might tell you.
Yes.
So,
not the news fans want to hear, but just the truth. And you always get that here.
Geordie journals shutting things down like Eddie Howe did today. So on the injury situation, defensive injury situation, that was a lot of questions Sven Botman had to face.
Yes.
He's just signed a new contract. A little bit on that, but Sven, you've been injured. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, that was the gist of the questions. I mean, asked a lot of questions on his injury record, and I think the general message from Sven Botman was, I'm back, I'm fit, and I want to get back to my best. I think that's the best way to sum it up. I mean, the contract news is 2 weeks ago now, or just over a week ago, he signed a new contract. That's been covered. Getting Sven Botman back to his most robust self is a new angle to go at, because he admitted himself he's picked a lot of injuries, out for essentially 2 seasons with a knee injury, comes back, had loads of little knocks. So it's about getting him back to he's fully fit best, and he recognised that. So that's pretty much what I took.
Yeah, all I'll say is I think we've had this interview with Sven Botman before where he's been speaking about, I'm looking to get back to my best levels, and then he's broke down again. Hopefully this is the time where he is back to his best, but I think with Sven Botman it is a bit of a roll of the dice regarding his fitness, as it is with a lot of players. But for a player who's still, in defensive terms or in footballing terms, still relatively young, just turned 26, his body has let him down quite a lot. And again, a lot of questions were asked on his first season when he first came into the club, and he barely missed a game, and he formed the joint best defence in the Premier League, barely conceded a goal that season, Newcastle, and finishing 4th. He spoke about that, how he felt that season, maybe not overachieving for Newcastle, but it was more than he maybe expected to get from his first season, and since then it has been a struggle for him in terms of his fitness, but he still believes, or at least he said, that Newcastle, he can achieve great things at Newcastle, and that's why he signed the new contract. There was a bit on the Dutch national team as well, because he's been involved in that a few times, and still yet to be capped. Are you surprised about that? Sven Botman, 26 years old, he's played for Lille, won Ligue 1 with Lille, played in the Champions League for Newcastle, came 4th, uncapped.
Yeah, I think if he hadn't have had his injuries, I think it's pretty obvious. I think he probably would have got a cap by now. I think he's been called up the squad a couple of times.
Yeah, there was a bit on that because he got ill, didn't he? So there was that.
Yeah, was that
food poisoning?
The youth team or something? They got the was it youth tournament and they got ill off a chicken curry. It's quite a story that, like.
Yeah.
well, the Dutch youngsters got food poisoning.
Was
off
it the youngsters?
Curry.
I thought it was the first team.
Was it the first team? Was it? I don't know. I actually don't know.
I thought it was when he was in the squad, like about to get his debut.
All right, okay.
And he got ill.
You know what? Actually, because it was 2023, so it would have had to be the senior team.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there you go.
Can't catch a break, Sven Botman.
If
his body's not failing him, he's eating a dodgy curry.
Eating a dodgy curry.
Plus Sven.
Yeah, I'm sure if he gets himself back to his best levels at Newcastle, I'm sure it'll just be around the corner. Although there's a lot of Dutch centre halves.
Yeah. A lot of competition, yeah. That's what he referenced. He said, look, I've got some great players ahead of me, but wouldn't rule out the World Cup.
No. If he has a strong end of the season, there's no reason why he couldn't. But we shall wait and see.
Yes. But on that note, we'll wrap up for the first half of this video, have a word from our Geordie Journos sponsors, and we'll catch up after the break, looking ahead to this game tomorrow night. Proud sponsors of the Geordie Journos, the Radiator Shed specialise in cast iron radiators, solid, dependable and built to go the distance. Classic warmth, done properly. For 21 years, JLM Travel have been offering great deals on package holidays and cruises, plus low deposits and free kids places are available. Branches at Maingate Team Valley and Front Street Wickham. RJ Building Surveyors is a trusted RICS accredited family-run firm with over 15 years of experience specialising in residential surveys and valuations. Based in Yorkshire, their expert services extend nationwide. Whether buying, selling or seeking peace of mind about your home, they've got you covered. Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking and certified data destruction. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in. And we're back. Those were our 5 Geordie Journos sponsors. Forget all this Champions League nonsense. Those are the 5 you want, and the link's in the description below. And if you want to get in contact with Geordie Journos, of course, comment below. That is the first line of contact for us. If not, email
geordiejournos@gmail.com.
Brilliant. PSV, tomorrow night. Newcastle United, 12th in the Champions League group phase, heading into this round of matches. What you're thinking, how you want Newcastle to line up, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to win tomorrow because they don't want to go to Paris having not guaranteed the progression to the round of, well, playoff round, sorry. So,
yeah, sorry.
No, I think even a point would probably be enough tomorrow.
Losing both games will probably be enough.
Yeah, but you just don't want to go to Paris. I mean, goal difference because the goal difference is strong, but I mean, they could get battered in Paris, let's be honest. Yeah. So just win tomorrow, guarantee it, go to Paris with the pressure off, and then maybe if you fancy winning in Paris, then you are looking at maybe that top 8, but again, it's results elsewhere. So that's a permutation sort of tied up unless you've got anything to add to that.
No, I've actually looked at the permutations, and there was a lot of people discussing, do they need to win? It might not be enough. A win would absolutely be enough. A draw would almost certainly be enough. Even losing the next 2 games, they'll probably still get through because of the goal difference. There's only 4 teams, technically 7 teams can catch Newcastle who are not currently in the top 24. That could change tonight based on the results. But because of teams playing each other, only 4 can actually catch them. So realistically, unless we see some absolute freak results in these last 2 match days, Newcastle United, regardless of these next 2 results against PSV and PSG, will almost certainly be playing Champions League football next month in the knockout phase. But It's whether they can get the top 8. I think it's very unlikely. They can win the next 2 and still miss out.
Yeah.
But Man City getting beat? I don't know, actually. That'll date badly. But as I speak right now, Man City are losing to Bodo Glimt. But you never know, there could be a few shocks.
Yeah, so, I'd be surprised I got the round of 16 through automatic qualification. Yeah. I think the playoff round I'm perfectly happy with. Take the playoff round, try and finish in that top bracket of the teams from 9 to 24, is it?
Yeah.
Getting that top bracket, so you're playing one of the teams obviously below, and then you get a home tie in the second leg, so that's what I want. Finish it strong. A win will probably do that tomorrow, because they're playing the top half of that 9 to 24. Team-wise, I think changes from the weekend. I think Lewis Murray will come back in for Trippier.
Yes.
The midfield 3 I think will probably stay the same, although there's maybe a case for Jacob Ramsey to come in for Sandro Tonali. Yeah. Gordon probably stays in because of his Champions League form, albeit I'll probably take him out and play Harvey Barnes on the left. But I think Elanga comes in tomorrow night, and I think Wissa comes in.
Yeah, I think Wissa comes in for his Champions League debut. Elanga sort of naturally come under the microscope a bit more recently, but actually he has saved some of his better performances, as has Anthony Gordon, for the Champions League. So yeah, I'd start them too. Why not? The stakes are weirdly not that high, even though Eddie Howe is obviously talking about finishing top 8. I think, like we said, Newcastle could win the next 2 and still miss out on the top 8. I think just maybe look at all competitions, look at the Premier League and manage your squad based on that. And realistically, we were speaking just before, you could make a few changes. Okay, PSV beat Liverpool 4-1, but you could make a few changes and you should still have enough to beat PSV at home.
Yes, I mean, just quickly adding, PSV are unbeaten since March last year away from home. So they're no mugs. They battered Liverpool at Anfield, albeit Liverpool on the side they were last season. So it's going to be a very, very tough game, but I think Newcastle should win. Yeah,
well, we're saying the same about Union SG. They beat PSV 3-1 in the opening Champions League game. They were barely lost a game domestically, absolutely battered them. So I wouldn't read into too much into their domestic form, because the Dutch league, we were saying just before, Wolves, who Newcastle played on Sunday, who are rock bottom of the Premier League, could probably compete for the Dutch title. So and Newcastle drew with them, they couldn't score past them, so maybe it will be a really tough game. So yeah, I don't really read too much into the form book in the Champions League anyway. It's going to be a tricky game, but Newcastle have been quite good here this season in the Champions League, so I'll back them to win regardless of what side Eddie Howe puts out.
Agreed.
Right, we'll be back here in the Champions League at St James's Park, almost certainly not for the last time, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, as Newcastle take on PSV Eindhoven in the Champions League.